Frank, well, there's been so many Fury and Wilder press conferences. How was that one for you?
Yeah, it was. I've got to be honest. I don't like this format. I don't like it. I prefer the old style ones. I think this is, just doesn't get. Well, it just doesn't work for me in some ways. And what my concern was right at the end. I mean, obviously they were livening up the pair of them when they were starting, doing the usual stuff, insulting each other and what they're going to do to each other. But then when she called for a face-off, I jumped up and. Are you sure? Who's going to? There's no one there. Yeah. So these two guys just go at it. You know what's going to happen. No one's going to give any ground. Suddenly it's going to happen, and you've got no fight. It's madness. I really didn't get that, and I was quite disappointed from that perspective. But no, it's look. At the end of the day, it's all about what's going to happen on Saturday in the ring, and on Saturday I think we're going to see something. It's going to be quite interesting because this fight. I know what Tyson's capable of, and we've seen that in the last two fights. We see him school him in the first fight, and we see him do a complete demolition job on him in the second fight. So what can Deontay do any different that was different in either fights? He's never going to outbox him. I can't see him ever outboxing him. And I don't think Malik Scott, unless he's some genius, boxing genius, and I'm not saying he's not, but you're going to have to be some sort of genius to suddenly get a guy, what's he, 34 years of age, and turn him into a boxer? I'm not sure. Turn him into a boxer, I don't see that. So he's got to do something that tries to negate what Tyson brings to it. And all he can do is try and knock him over. And to knock him over, for me, he's got to throw the caution to the wind and come out and let his bombs go. And if he does that, then you're going to get it'll be exciting white lights. Tyson will knock him out, but it'll be exciting white lights because, I just can't see any other way he can beat him. And I don't think he will beat him. Tyson's, he's taken his best shots twice, and that's certainly that last round. Not only did he take his best shot of the first fight, he got up and he won the round. He was on top of him at the end. So, but anything can happen in boxing. He's dangerous. He's one thing he says, Deontay's absolutely right. He's got nothing to lose because he hasn't. And it's a fight, from our perspective, we could have done with that because we wanted to go straight to the Joshua fight. But it is what it is, and we get on with it.
But Tyson, he always seems to pull the surprise. I think he's surprised Deontay Wilder several times in the press conferences, but in the fights, first one, he surprised him by even being competitive, being able to get up. Second fight, by walking him down. Who on earth does that to Deontay Wilder? How is he going to surprise him? Is he going to surprise him on Saturday?
Well, the first fight, you've got to remember, he lost nearly 11 stone in 6 months and got in the ring. And the only reason they made that fight because they fancied their man would not Tyson over. And he caught him. Twice, 2 good shots. Tyson was totally outboxing. And you look at Tyson, the time he'd been out of the ring, it was about 3 years by then, wasn't it? 3 years out of the ring. Losing that weight, as well publicised his problems outside the ring, with the boozing and the drugs and the suicidal thoughts. And you don't want to sort of, I'm not sort of just being blasé saying that. I mean, they were terrible problems that he was having. But he came back and he won that fight and he got robbed. But he never bitched about it. He never did what Deontay did in the second fight. And the second fight, I said he'd stop him. I said he'd take centre of the ring and stop him. I said that before the fight, and I really felt he'd do that. And for me, again, the end of that 12th round when Tyson was on top in the first fight, the second fight was the 13th round. And he just took him to school, done a job on him. So I think Tyson's got his number every day of the week. I really do believe that. He's dangerous, Wilder, very, very dangerous. But I just think Tyson's got his number.
Well, back to the face-off or the non-face-off. How much was it on your mind? What happened with Canelo and Plant and the push and the pull?
I didn't even think about that. All I was thinking about is common sense here. What's going on? How can you allow these guys to do this? This is madness. You can't let that happen. We're, just two. I mean, even if some old geezer or Bob, two old geezers at least get in the middle of it, but there's no one. They're just telling these fellas go face to face. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah, no,
that's
absolutely.
That's the first, isn't it? Promoters stopping stuff like that happening. We always get blamed for staging this bullshit, which I keep telling people we'd never do that. It doesn't happen.
What's your relationship like with Deontay Wilder at the moment? I mean,
I haven't spoken to him since the last fight. I quite liked him. I mean, because we was doing all those press trips, tours, I should say, for the first 2 fights, and it was good fun. But I just didn't like the excuses he came up with for his for his defeat. You know, I think he wasn't a man about it.
What do you think an elite winning mentality is then? Because if you take a loss, are you meant to then accept that loss and then be like, right, you beat me, but I'm going to get you? Or are you meant to be so kind of almost deluded that, no, I didn't lose, I don't accept that?
Well, go and ask Muhammad Ali. You know, legends. Go and ask, you know, there's lots of great fighters who've lost fights for various reasons. How you come back, what you come back and what you do. And how you lose, which is really important, how you lose. And it's easy for people sitting the other side of the ropes, me included, saying, you know, going out on your shield, but that's what warriors do.
Initially, Wilder was sat there on his phone, he was scrolling through. What do you think he was looking at?
God knows, I have no idea. Or maybe someone was sending him a script, I've got no idea, but it was what it was. And I think it's all pretty much irrelevant. All that's going to matter. See, all this stuff that happens, we do there, and it's all about the build-up and everyone gets excited about it. But you know what? It comes down to one thing on Saturday night. The two guys in the centre of the ring, bell goes and they duke it out, and the winner is the winner. And that's all that matters. No matter what, all these things that are said mean nothing. They mean absolutely nothing. It's what you do in the ring that counts.
Listen, we are expecting fireworks on Saturday night. The WBC have come out and they've said that the winner of Dillian Whyte against Otto Wallin will be ordered to face the winner of Fury Wilder if there's no unification or undisputed fight that happens. That can't happen because Usyk's tied up in a rematch clause. What are your thoughts on that fight, and are you confident that we can get that fight made?
I just want to get this fight out of the way first. Let's get this one done first, then we can talk about that after.
Final message to everyone who's going to be, I'm sure, booking on BT Sport box office. Why should they do it if they're unsure?
I don't think. You know what? Look, this is about Wilder. You know, he said a lot of things. He's got to back him out now. He's got to show, and he's a warrior. You know, look, he defended his title 10 times, world champion for 6 years. So like, he's been there, statistically the hardest punching heavyweight in the last 40 odd years, whatever it is. He's got to come out. He's got to do he has got to do what Anthony Joshua didn't do. He's got to have the devil in him. He's got to come out and let those shots go, because if he don't, he's done.
Do you think he has that in him?
We'll find out.
Good stuff. All right, Frank, I'll let you go. There's a few more wanting to speak to you.